Others, like our next guest, won't be in attendance at all. Congressman Adam Smith from Washington joins us now. He's the ranking member of the Armed Services Committee. So, Congressman, thanks for being with us. Can you tell us why you plan to skip the State of the Union this year?
Well, I think the most important thing here is this is a moment in time. The most important thing is that this is a 24/7.
Sorry, we're getting blizzard warnings on set, so I apologize.
If you get the beeping.
Yeah, you're in New York. I would figure you'd be getting blizzard warnings. The warning should have already come in. But sorry, let me go ahead and try that again. Yeah, no, look, the State of the Union is a moment in time. The battle against Trump is a 24/365 battle. So obsessing about what's going to happen in that one particular night, I think, would be a mistake. We have to continually deliver a positive message, push back on all the terrible things that Trump is doing. And to be fair, I don't always attend the State of the Union. It's not, I don't take it as some sort of big, huge personal statement one way or the other. We've all got a lot of work to do. Now, I will say that even if I was someone who attended States of the Union in general, I wouldn't be going to this one. In part because Trump's presentation and performance is just so belittling and insulting. It is beneath the office. I mean, my goodness, you hear what he says at the prayer breakfast, where he just insults everybody around and lies constantly. I don't think we should be supporting or endorsing that in any way, but I hope what people stay focused on is stopping what ICE is doing. I watched your story beforehand and the way the rights of people all across this country are being violated day in and day out. You know, what he's getting ready to go to war with Iran, for crying out loud. We should be talking about that and how to stop it. So let's not obsess about one night and all the pageantry and ridiculousness that has become the State of the Union. Let's focus on the message and on stopping what Trump is doing.
So to that extent, I mean, how concerned are you, Congressman, that this president, as he becomes more desperate, as he continues to get dealt setbacks and sees his numbers go down, as he sees the Epstein files and the Epstein investigation continue to haunt his administration and people around him without any desire for it to stop, and the buildup that we're seeing in the Persian Gulf about a possible war to go to Iran, how concerned are you that this president becomes more desperate and continues to unleash more damage against our democracy and American citizens?
Well, one of the things I want people to understand is I don't think it's a matter of being more desperate of him to reacting to events. This is what he's done from day one. Furthermore, this is what he said he was going to do when he was running for president. He laid it out. He basically laid out a vision of an authoritarian takeover of our government. So I know a lot of people dive into the tea leaves and say, well, he's doing this to distract from that. He's doing that because he's desperate. His poll numbers down. He's doing that. No, understand, Donald Trump is hell-bent to consolidate as much power as possible in his hands and to delegitimize every other institution in America. I mean, and this is a focus on that authoritarian power. Yes, he has some of the details that he wants to do, but the most important thing for him is just that he has the power. Remember, he said the only check on his power should be his morality. So let's not get caught up in thinking, oh, his poll numbers are down, now he's going to react. This is what he's been doing. This has been the plan from the very start. And I think we need to approach it from that standpoint. He's not more desperate. He's hell-bent to do what he was doing in the first place. And we need to be hell-bent to stop it.
Congressman, another thing that the president
ran on that he has been very consistent about is his love of tariffs. And obviously he was dealt a blow on Friday when the Supreme Court, as expected, struck down most of the tariffs in any case that he had put in place under a national emergency power, struck them down as unconstitutional. Surely there are a lot of companies out there that are celebrating, hoping that they are going to be due refund checks. But I wonder what you think the legacy of those tariffs and the ones that he has put in place since then will have on our relationships with our trading partners.
Yeah, it's not going to be good. It is part of what Trump has been doing to undermine our system of partnerships and alliance and basically alienate us from as many countries in the world as possible. Now, how exactly they're going to react to that's hard to say, but they certainly are going to be less supportive of U.S. interests because they see us as a threat instead of a partner. So it's going to have that impact. Personally, I think the most important thing about what the Supreme Court did goes back to what I was saying earlier about how Trump wants to create a situation where there are no checks on his power. This was a check on his power. This was something that the Supreme Court has not done to date to this degree. Said, no, Mr. President, the law, the Constitution does apply to you. So I think that's crucially important. Now, he will fan out in other ways to try to keep pushing his tariff agenda. But that statement that the court made that said the law and the Constitution applies, you can't do whatever you want, is something I think we need to build on.
Congressman, I want to go back to Iran just because there's so much news happening there, and it seems that we could be at a very important moment in history. So Lindsey Graham reportedly in Axios told Donald Trump to just go ahead and to bomb Iran, to ignore his advisors who do not want him to get more involved and intervene. What have you seen from your perch as Democratic ranking member on the Armed Services Committee in terms of what's actually being done in terms of our posture preparing for strikes against Iran?
Yeah, there's two really important pieces to this. One is sort of what you asked, or what is Trump likely to do? What are we seeing? But then two is, well, what's the right thing to do in this situation? I can tell you what I've seen is Trump is getting ready to put himself in position to launch as large a military strike as he can, number one. And number two, I don't think that Trump has changed his mind about being able to act unilaterally across a wide range of issues, but certainly in terms of the use of the military. So I don't see him being constrained by the normal sense of, well, what's the American public opinion? Has Congress approved? So I think if he wants to do this, he's going to do this, even if public opinion is substantially against it, as I believe that it is. So there's a huge risk there. But then second, I understand that what's going on in Iran is brutal and repressive. The regime there is illegitimate, terrible for the Iranian people. I get all of that, but I have a long enough memory to remember the same things being said about Saddam Hussein and the Taliban and Muammar Gaddafi. And I also have enough experience on the Armed Services Committee. Military operations never go as easily as they appear on paper. It's not as simple as, oh, well, this is a terrible regime. We're going to remove them. Something better will come in its place. It is highly unpredictable, and Iran has military capability. If their regime is threatened, they will strike back, and you will likely have a wider war in the Middle East. And we don't know what comes next. Even if our actions could topple the regime, the opposition is divided in a whole bunch of different directions. So personally, I have said for years now that we should be out of the regime change business. I've been there. I've supported some of them in the past for a lot of the emotional reasons when you see what that particular leader is doing to his people and his country. It's just not as simple as it looks, and we need to stop thinking of our military as sort of the easy button to solve all of the problems in the world.
Really quick, Congressman, you probably saw, and to stay on the Middle East real quick, you saw Ambassador Mike Huckabee's comments to Tucker Carlson, where he basically said it would be, quote, fine if Israel took over large parts of the Middle East. It's created a bit of a diplomatic incident with a lot of our close allies, Egypt, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, and others who've condemned those remarks. How should Democrats push back on this kind of talk, and what does that say about the competence of somebody like Mike Huckabee to embroil America in a diplomatic incident with his reckless comments?
Well, it undercuts what we're supposed to stand for. We're supposed to stand for sovereignty, and we're supposed to stand for the rule of law. And look, I believe that Israel certainly has a right to exist. I also believe that they are threatened. Their territory is threatened in a variety of different directions. That doesn't mean that they have the right to expand their territory outside of international law. And if we're going to stand for the principle, we're helping Israel because they have the right to protect themselves, then we ought to stand for that principle throughout the Middle East. And I think we're at a very, very dangerous moment right now. There is the possibility, certainly, of getting to a more peaceful situation when you see the Arab states, getting along better with Israel, when you see efforts to sort of focus on economic growth instead of worrying about religious extremism. There's an opportunity. But if Israel plows over the rights of Arabs and Palestinians and others in the region, then our partners who could work with us on that more peaceful outcome, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Jordan, they can't stand for that. They can't, allow Israel to undermine the rights of their people. So I think Ambassador Huckabee should choose his words more carefully if we're going to maintain the system of partnerships and alliances we need in the Middle East.
Congressman Adam Smith, always great to have you on the show, sir. Again, apologies for our our blizzard warnings all going off at the same time, but
good luck with the blizzard. So thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your patience with us, sir.